I never thought I'd see my father kiss another woman at my mother's funeral. But there he was, lips locked with her, his mistress, in the back pew of St. Mary's. While the organ wheezed out, "Amazing Grace," the congregation gasped, but Dad just pulled back with that trademark grin, the one that said he owned the room, and whispered something that made her giggle like a schoolgirl. The scandal didn't end there. 2 weeks later, at Grandma's while reading in that stuffy law office on Elm Street in our dying Rust Belt town of Harlan, Ohio, Dad showed up arm in arm with the same woman, bold as brass. He leaned in close to the lawyer, murmuring about expediting things, as if he could lawyer his way out of karma. Then the screen flickered to life with Grandma's recorded voice, frail but steel-edged, and she dropped the bomb. Everything, the house, the savings, the family business, went to me, Iris. But only if I exposed Dad's dirtiest secret, the one I'd buried for him 5 years ago. The room went dead silent, except for Dad's choked laugh that turned into a snarl. That laugh echoed off the wood-paneled walls like a gunshot in a library. I remember the exact texture of the air in Harold Jenkins' office that afternoon, thick with the scent of old books, stale coffee, and the faint metallic tang of betrayal. Harlan wasn't the kind of place where secrets stayed buried forever, but I damn well tried. Grandma's video testament played on, her face pale and powdered, eyes sharp as the switchblade she kept in her apron pocketback when she ran the diner on Route 9. "Iris, my girl," she rasped, her voice cutting through the static like a Midwest winter wind. "You've carried too much for too long. Your father thinks he's clever, hiding his sins behind that silver tongue of his. But blood don't lie, and neither do I. The Hawthorne legacy ends with him if you don't make it right. Dad, Jack Hawthorne, the king of used car lots and empty promises, shifted in his creaky leather chair, his arms still draped possessively over Tanya's shoulders. Tanya, with her bottle blonde hair and yoga-toned arms, looked every bit the trophy he'd chased after Mom's cancer diagnosis. She was 20 years his junior, a real estate agent who'd helped him flip our family home while Mom withered away in hospice.
Now,
she batted her lashes at the lawyer, as if Jenkins might be swayed by a sympathetic pout. Jenkins, a wiry man in his 60s with a comb-over that screamed small-town respectability, cleared his throat for the third time. "Mrs. Hawthorne's instructions are clear. Iris inherits the bulk of the estate, valued at approximately $2.3 million, including the Hawthorne Auto Group, contingent upon fulfilling the conditions outlined in the sealed envelope." He slid a manila packet across the desk toward me, his eyes darting nervously between Dad and me. "My Uncle Ray, Dad's brother," snorted from the corner, nursing a flask he thought no one noticed. Aunt Lila,
his wife,
clutched her purse like a shield, her lips pursed in that perpetual judgment she'd perfected over decades of family holidays. They were here for the scraps, the silverware, and the antique clock Grandma had promised. But now the air crackled with something uglier, greed laced with resentment. I was 28, still scraping by as a paralegal in Cleveland, commuting 2 hours each way on I-71 just to afford the rent on my shoebox apartment. Mom's death had gutted me, left me hollowed out like the factories that dotted Harlan's skyline, rusted skeletons of what used to be. And Dad? He'd been my rock. Or so I'd thought. When the auditors came sniffing around the auto business 5 years back, accusing him of cooking the books, falsifying odometers, inflating trade-ins to dodge taxes, he'd begged me to take the fall. "It'll just be a misdemeanor. Iris Bug," he'd said, tears in his eyes for the first time since I was a kid. "Plead it out. Community service. Save the family name. I'll make it right. I done it. Lied to the judge. Forged the signatures on those affidavits. Spent 6 months in county lockup pretending it was all my idea. My law school dreams? Shredded. My reputation? Tarnished like the chrome on Dad's prized '67 Mustang. And for what? So he could keep the lights on at Hawthorne Auto, pay off his gambling debts in Atlantic City, and start screwing Tanya behind Mom's back.
Now.
Grandma knew. Of course she did. Evelyn Hawthorne hadn't raised 2 boys in the shadow of the steel mills without learning to spot a liar from a mile away. She'd watched me come home from that court hearing, reeking of jail soap, and never said a word, not until she was dying of the same pancreatic beast that took Mom. Instead, she'd slipped me that envelope a month ago, whispering, "When the time comes, Iris, don't flinch." Dad's grin had vanished by the time the video ended. He leaned forward, knuckles white on the armrests. "This is bullshit, Harold. Mom was senile Alzheimer's, dementia, whatever. She didn't know what she was saying. I want this contested."
Now.
Jenkins adjusted his glasses. Unfazed. "Mr. Hawthorne, your mother's will was notarized, witnessed by 3 parties, including her physician. It's ironclad. Iris has 90 days to comply with the terms, or the estate reverts to charity, specifically the Ohio Victims' Rights Fund." The room erupted. Uncle Ray slammed his flask down, sloshing bourbon across the carpet. "Charity? That old bat's screwing us all." Aunt Lila shushed him, but her eyes burned with calculation, already tallying what she'd lose. Tanya just sat there, filing her nails, as if this were a minor inconvenience between spin classes. I picked up the envelope, my hand steady despite the storm in my chest. Inside was a USB drive, a ledger photocopy, and a letter in Grandma's looping script. The ledger, pages of falsified invoices, ghost clients, money funneled through shell accounts. Proof that Dad's fraud went way beyond what I'd confessed to. Hundreds of thousands siphoned, not just for debts, but for Tanya's boob job, their Vegas weekends, a down payment on a condo in Florida. "Iris," Dad hissed, his voice low and urgent, the one he used to sell lemons to widows. "Don't do this. Think about your future.
We can split it quietly.
Family first, right? Family."
The word tasted like ash.
I met his eyes, saw the flicker of the man who taught me to change oil in the driveway, who promised he'd always have my back. But that man was a ghost, replaced by this schemer who'd let his daughter rot for his sins. "I am thinking about family, Dad," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. For the first time, as we filed out into the gray December drizzle, Harlan streets slick with melting snow, I felt the weight of it all pressing down. The auto lot sign blinked in the distance. Hawthorne Auto. Honest deals for honest folks, like a bad joke. Tanya slipped into Dad's Cadillac, but he lingered, grabbing my arm just hard enough to bruise. "You release that evidence, and I'll bury you," he murmured, breath hot against my ear. "You're nothing without me, Iris." "Nothing." I yanked free, rain stinging my face. "That's what you think,
Dad."
But Grandma made sure I'm everything now. That night, back in my Cleveland apartment, I plugged in the USB. Files upon files, emails between Dad and a crooked accountant, photos of Tanya signing dummy contracts, Even a voice memo of Dad laughing about the little plea deal that saved my ass. But buried deepest was the real gut punch, a paternity test, dated 10 months before Mom died. Tanya's kid. The one she'd adopted last year? Not adopted.
Dad's.
The betrayal hit like a freight train. Not just the money. Not just the lies. He'd built a whole other life while Mom begged for pain meds, while I scrubbed toilets in lockup. And Grandma had known, hoarded it like aces in a poker game, waiting for the perfect bluff. I poured a glass of cheap Merlot, stared at the city lights smearing across Lake Erie. Revenge wasn't a word I'd ever owned, but it fit now, snug as a glove. 90 days. I'd make him pay, not with fists or fury, but with the slow, inexorable grind of truth. Starting tomorrow. The next morning, I drove back to Harlan, the envelope tucked in my glove box like a loaded gun. First stop, the prosecutor's office. But as I pulled into the lot, my phone buzzed. Uncle Ray. Iris.
Kid.
Meet me at the diner. Before you do something stupid. Stupid. If only he knew. The Blue Plate diner hadn't changed since Reagan. Vinyl booths cracked like old skin. Coffee that could strip paint and flow behind the counter. Her beehive defying gravity. Uncle Ray slouched in our old booth, the one where Grandma used to count tips, his face mottled red from the flask or the cold. Sit, he grunted, sliding a mug my way. Your old man's losing it. Called me at dawn, ranting about Evelyn's witch hunt. Says he'll sue. Go public, hell. Hire a PI to dig up dirt on you. Let him. My record was clean now. Expunged after probation. What do you want?
Ray?
The wills read. It's done. He leaned in, eyes bloodshot. Not if you back off. Jack's family. Iris.
Blood.
That fraud shit? Water under the bridge. We all covered for him back then, me. Lila. Even your mom knew bits and let it slide. Mom knew? The mug trembled in my hand. She died believing in him. Forgiving the late nights as work. You expect me to just hand it over? After what he did to me? Ray shrugged. That infuriating nonchalance. Life's not fair.
Kid.
But ruining him? That makes you know better. Think about the boy. Little Jack Jr., Tanya's kid. He's innocent. Jack Jr. The name twisted like a knife. My half-brother. Hidden in plain sight.
Playing Legos while Dad played God.
Innocent? Like I was? Flo refilled his coffee, eavesdropping shamelessly. Evelyn was right to pick you. Honey. Jack's always been a snake in khakis. Ray shot her a glare. Stay out of it. Flo. Then to me. Look. Split the estate quiet-like. I'll talk to him. We keep the business. You get the house.
Cash. No cops. No headlines.
Harlan don't need another scandal. I stood, tossing a 5 on the table. Too late for quiet. Uncle. Grandma's wishes aren't a suggestion. As I pushed through the door, the bell jangling like a warning, I felt eyes on me, the whole town. Probably. Whispering already. Hawthorne girl versus Hawthorne king. But in my rear view, as I headed to the DA's office, I saw Dad's Cadillac idling across the street. Watching. The prosecutor, a no-nonsense woman named Elena Vasquez, took one look at the ledger and whistled low. This is felony territory. S. Hawthorne. Embezzlement. Wire fraud could be 10 years if we push. Her office overlooked the courthouse square, Christmas lights twinkling prematurely against the gloom. "Push," I said, sliding the USB across. "Everything." She nodded, jotting notes. "Your father's cooperation back then saved him. But this? It's a pattern. We'll need your testimony, the plea deal. How you got roped in."
Roped in.
Like a calf to the slaughter. I recounted it all. The frantic call from Dad the night before the audit. His promises of lawyers and restitution that never came. How he'd ghosted me in lockup. Sending Tanya with care packages that smelled like Chanel and lies. Vasquez leaned back, steepling her fingers. Motivation matters. This feels personal.
It was. Soul deep.
Make it stick. By evening, warrants were drafting. I holed up at Grandma's house, the big Victorian on Maple. Now mine if I followed through. The place creaked with memories, Mom's laughter in the kitchen, Dad's ghost stories by the fireplace. I rifled through her attic, finding letters tied with twine, correspondence from the war, when Grandpa shipped out, leaving her pregnant with Dad. Strength in silence, one read. But Grandma had broken it for me. A knock shattered the quiet. Tanya. Alone. Shivering in a cashmere coat too thin for Ohio December. Iris.
Please.
5 minutes. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She paced the foyer, heels clicking like accusations. "Jack's destroyed. This witch hunt, it's killing him." "Good," I snapped. "How's it feel to watch a family crumble?" Her eyes welled, crocodile tears. I figured. "I love him."
"And the boy."
"Jack Jr. needs his dad." Like I needed mine? The words hung. Venomous. Then she dropped it. "Evelyn knew about us. Threatened to cut him off years ago. That's why he pushed you to take the fall, not just the money. To keep her quiet."
Grandma.
Blackmailing her own son? The twist soured my stomach. "You're lying." "Am I?" She pulled out her phone. A text thread from me. "Tell Jack to fix his mess."
RSP.
Dated the week before the audit. My world tilted. Grandma, my North Star, had played puppet master. Used me as leverage. For what? Family honor. Or her own grudge against Dad's wandering eye. Tanya's voice softened. "Walk away, Iris. For the kid." I showed her the door, but her words burrowed like ticks. Was revenge just trading one monster for another? I poured whiskey Grandma's stash and scrolled news alerts. Already. Whispers. Hawthorne heiress turns on father. Sleep came fitful. Dreams of courtrooms and caskets. Morning brought the call. Dad. Arrested at dawn. "You happy now?" "Traitor," he spat before hanging up. Not happy. Hollow. But the game was on, and I was all in. Word count, 1012. File 2. The arraignment was a circus. Harlan style. Courtroom packed with locals rubbernecking. Phones hidden under coats for illicit pics. Dad stood at the podium in a rumpled suit, cuffs glinting under the fluorescence. His lawyer, a slick Columbus import named Hargrove, whispering furiously. Tanya sat front row with little Jack Jr., the boy clutching a stuffed bear, oblivious to the vultures circling. I slipped in back, hood up against prying eyes. Vasquez had prepped me. Testify tomorrow. Lay out the coercion. The cover-up. But as the judge, a grizzled vet named Harlan himself. Irony thick as fog. Read the charges. Dad's gaze locked on mine. Not rage. Not sorrow. Calculation. Like he was already plotting the counterpunch. Bail at $500,000, Judge Harlan barked. Next, Hargrove jumped up. Your Honor, my client is a pillar. Save it for trial. Gavel crack. Dad shot me a wink as they led him away. A wink. Like this was poker. And he held the flush.
Outside.
Reporters swarmed. 2 from the Harlan Gazette. A stringer from Cleveland's Plain Dealer. Iris. Was it the affair? The money? Flashes popped like gunfire. I shoved through, heart hammering, until Uncle Ray's truck screeched up. Get in. Damn it. He peeled out toward the lake. Radio crackling with talk radio bile. Hawthorne patriarch framed by bitter daughter. Ray killed it with a fist. Town's turning. Iris. Flo's diner? Boycott threats. Your aunt's crying about betraying blood. Let them. But doubt not. Grandma's letter burned in my pocket. Jack's sins are his. But yours are chosen. Choose again. If you dare. What did that mean? Forgiveness? Or deeper cut? Ray pulled into a deserted pier. Wind whipping off Erie. Gulls screaming overhead. He called from lockup.
Wants to talk.
Alone.
No.
He's family. So's the kid he let me take the fall for. I climbed out. Boots crunching gravel. Tell him to rot. But Ray's plea lingered as I drove back to Maple Street. The house felt less like sanctuary, more mausoleum. I booted up the laptop, diving deeper into the USB files. That's when I found it, not just fraud, but extortion. Dad hadn't just skimmed, he'd shaken down competitors, planted odometer scams on rival lots, even torched a rival's inventory for insurance. Photos, a gloved hand with Dad's class ring, dousing cans of gas near a Cleveland Kia dealer. Holy shit.
Arson.
Felony murder, if anyone had died. And the payout? Traced to an offshore account in Tanya's name. My hands shook as I forwarded it to Vasquez. Add this to the pile. Her reply, Jesus. Iris. This buries him. Buries. The word echoed. Little Jack Jr.'s face flashed, innocent blue eyes. Dad's dimples. Would he grow up visiting his father in stripes? Or worse, hating the sister who pulled the trigger? A pounding at the door yanked me back. Lila. Aunt Lila. Drenched and wild-eyed. You heartless bitch. She barreled past, dripping on the Persian rug. Jack's in there with killers. Rapists, because of you. He put himself there. I blocked the living room, voice steady. Liar. He did it for us, for the business.
The jobs.
Harlan's dying. Iris. Those scams kept men fed. She jabbed a manicured finger. And you? You were always jealous. Of his charm. His life. Now you're playing God with Grandma's ghost. Jealous? The accusation stung. Unearthed old wounds. Dad's golden boy stories. How he'd parade me at lot openings, but forget parent-teacher nights. He used me. Lila. Let me go down for his greed. She laughed.
Bitter.
Used? He saved you from worse. That fire? He confessed it to Ray, said you'd get dragged in if the auditors dug deeper. Plea deal was mercy. Mercy. The room spun. Had Dad shielded me from the inferno? Or just tossed me to the embers? Get out. She paused at the door, softening. Think of the boy. Drop the arson angle. Plead it down. For family. Family again. The curse of the Hawthorns. I bolted the door, sank to the floor, tears hot and unwelcome. Grandma's portrait watched from the mantel, stern, unyielding. Strength in silence. But silence had cost me everything. Sleep evaded. Instead, I paced, replaying Tanya's text, Lila's plea. By dawn, decision crystallized. Testify, but hold the arson card. Mercy, maybe. Or leverage. Court the next day was hellfire. Vasquez called me first. Her questions surgical, the plea, the pressure, the lies. I answered flat, factual, avoiding Dad's eyes. Hargrove cross-examined like a fox. MS. Hawthorne, isn't it true your grandmother coerced this testimony? Blackmailed your father? Objection. Sustained. But the seed planted, murmurs rippled.
Grandma.
The villain now? Dad took the stand after lunch. Transformed, humble, broken. I failed my girl, he choked. Dabbing eyes. Pride. Desperation. The business was crumbling. Iris stepped up. God bless her. I never meant. The jury ate it, nods. Sniffles. Tanya sobbed theatrically. Jack Jr. waving from her lap. Even I felt the pull. That old loyalty tugging. Then Hargrove sprang it. The text from E. Projected huge. Grandma's words damning. Your own flesh and blood manipulated you. Iris. For spite. Vasquez objected, relevance, but Judge Harlan allowed. The courtroom buzzed. Dad's eyes met mine. Not calculation now. Triumph.
Gotcha.
I gripped the rail. Nausea rising.
Grandma.
My avenger. Recast as meddler. Had she sacrificed me to punish him? The betrayal layered. Onion deep. Recess came. I fled to the hall, gulping air. Uncle Ray cornered me.
See?
He's fighting clean. Drop it, Iris. End this. But Vasquez pulled me aside. Don't fold. That text? Circumstantial. We pivot to the ledgers.
Pivoted.
But as trial dragged, days blurring into witness after witness. Dad's charm-eroding defenses, I cracked. Night 4. Post-testimony from the accountant, who flipped for immunity. I snuck into the visitor's room at county jail. Dad looked smaller behind plexiglass, scruff shadowing his jaw. Iris bug. Don't. The phone receiver felt foreign. The fire.
Did you?
For me,
He sighed.
long and weary. Partially. Auditors were closing in. Arson would have tanked everything. But yeah, I kept you clear. Thought the plea was light. Then Mom. She twisted it. Twisted. Rage flared. You let me rot. To protect you.
And now?
You're destroying us. His voice cracked. The boy's asking for his big sister. Says you promised to teach him baseball.
Lies.
I never met the kid. But the image pierced, glove on tiny hand, Dad's grin on his face. What do you want? Fold. I'll confess the fraud.
Due time.
But the arson?
Bury it.
For him. Leverage. The word hung unspoken. I hung up, storming out into neon-lit parking lot, rain sheeting down. Mercy or manipulation, the line blurred. Back home, the USB mocked me. Delete the files? One click. And Dad walked freer. But Grandma's voice echoed, "Make it right." Dawn broke gray, I chose. Testimony resumed. But when Vasquez cued the arson evidence, I stood. Objection. Your Honor. New evidence, exculpatory.
Gasps.
Vasquez whirled. Hargrove smirked. I handed over a fabricated memo, Grandma's confession, typed in her font, dated pre-audit. I knew of the fire. Ignored it to punish Jack. Lies. All mine. But it worked. Charges dropped to misdemeanor fraud. Dad pled out. 2 years probation. Restitution. The estate? Mine. Uncontested. Crowd cheered as he hugged me post-sentencing, whispering, "Knew you'd come through." Tanya beamed. Jack Jr. toddled over, offering his bear. Victory tasted like defeat. Grandma's ghost loomed, disapproving. That night, alone with the wind howling, I burned the real files. Mercy won. But as sirens wailed distant, another Harlan heist, I wondered, who was the monster now? Weeks blurred into a fragile truce. Dad out on bond, slinking around the auto lot like a chastened tomcat. Tanya playing dutiful wife-in-waiting. The headlines faded, Hawthorne feud fizzles, and Harlan exhaled, eager to bury the mess under holiday cheer. But me? I carried the scorch marks inside. Every forced smile at family dinner a fresh blister. Christmas Eve, snow blanketing Maple Street like forgiveness never would. The house glowed with lights I'd strung myself, tinsel mocking the voids. Dad arrived with Tanya and the boy, arms laden with gifts, a law school brochure for me, fresh start, bug. Diamond earrings from her, sisters now. And for Jack Jr., a mini bat signed by some Indians alum. Dinner was roast beef, creamed spinach, Mom's recipe, and wine flowing too freely. Uncle Ray carved. Lila passed potatoes. Chatter skimming the surface. Weather. The Browns' playoff choke. But undercurrents pulled. Dad's glances. Probing. Tanya's touches. Sisterly now. The boy's wide eyes on me.
Trusting.
Iris, he piped up. Gravy on chin. Daddy says you're a hero. Save the cars. Dad chuckled. That's right.
Champ.
Big sis fixed it all.
Hero.
The word choked me. I excused the kitchen, gripping the sink till knuckles ached.
Outside.
Deer picked through the yard, wild things in domestic glow. Grandma's letter rustled from my pocket. Choose again. I'd chosen mercy, buried the blaze. But peace? Elusive as summer in Ohio. Ray followed, flask in hand. You did good.
Kid.
Jack's grateful, talking expansion. Hiring locals. Grateful. Yet his text had stopped. The proud dad, emojis dried up. What's the catch? No catch.
He swigged.
But he's borrowing against the lot. To pay fines. Borrowing. From who? The ledgers whispered warnings. But I'd torch them. Trust. Fragile thread. Boxing Day brought the flip. Phone rang at 6 a.m. Vasquez. Iris.
We got a tip.
Your father's dipping again, Shell Company. Looks like overseas wires. My blood iced. Tip. Anonymous. But solid.
Pause.
You knew?
No. Yes.
Suspected. Handle it. But she pressed. Testify again? We can nail him clean this time.
Clean.
Without my lies muddying.
I
Need time. Time was the lie we all told. I drove to the lot. Slush sucking at tires. Dad in the office. Feet up. Schmoozing a client on speaker. Tanya at the desk. Typing furiously, contracts? Or love notes? Iris. He beamed. Too bright. Come for the books. All yours now. I scanned the desk. Ledgers pristine. But a post-it caught. Cayman's transfer. January 15th. Heart sank. Dad. Stop. Stop what? Innocent eyes. The games. Whatever this is, new scam, end it. He laughed. Genuine hurt flashing. Paranoid much? It's legit. Expansion to Toledo. For us. Legacy. Legacy. The curse. Tanya cleared throat. Iris. Trust him. We're family. Family. Again. I stormed out. But not before snatching a file folder, Project Phoenix. Inside, blueprints for a rebrand, but footnotes screamed fraud, ghost inventory, inflated assets. Back home, I paced, phone in hand. Call Vasquez? Or confront? The boy's bear stared from the couch. Accusing. Decision. Confrontation. Evening. I cornered Dad at his condo, the bachelor pad he'd kept secret, overlooking the river. Tanya answered, wine glass in hand, little Jack asleep in a booster seat at the bar. Dad. Phoenix.
It's the same shit. He sighed.
Pouring scotch.
Sit.
Talk. We did, hours. Unraveling. He admitted, fines crippling, lenders circling. Phoenix was survival, not greed. One last play, Iris. Then clean. One last echo of old promises. And if it blows, won't. But eyes darted, lie. Tanya interjected. We need you, Iris. The will, Evelyn strings. Jack Jr. could lose everything. Leverage. Flipped. I saw it. Dad's plan to contest the will anew. Claimed duress from Grandma's blackmail. Hargrove's card on the fridge confirmed. You'd sue me? After I saved your ass. Desperate times. Dad's voice steel. Join or get out. Rage boiled. I grabbed the folder. Bolted. In the truck. Tears blurred taillights. Mercy betrayed. Time to unbury. Vasquez met me at a diner off I-77. 2 a.m. Coffee bitter as regret. I spilled. Phoenix details. The contest threat. Full force. She nodded.
Brave.
But it'll split the family. Permanently.
Good. Or was it?
Jack Jr.'s face haunted. Raids hit dawn. Feds swarming the lot. Cuffs on Dad mid-handshake with a buyer. Tanya screaming. Boy wailing in her arms. News vans descended. Era strikes again. Hawthorne empire crumbles. I watched from afar. Gut twisting. Uncle Ray called. Monster. You killed him. Iris. Killed? Hyperbole. But felt true. Lila's voicemails. Vitriol. Please. Town shunned. Grocery runs met with glares. Flo comped my coffee no more. Isolation clawed. Nights. I dreamed of flames. The rival lot. Dad's ring glinting. Awake. Guilt gnawed. My fabricated memo had softened the blow. Let him rebuild. Reoffend. Twist came mid-January. Subpoena for me, Hargrove. Suing the estate. Claim, grandma's will invalid. Undue influence. Evidence, my old testimony. Twisted, I'd perjured for personal gain.
Panic.
Vasquez prepped defense. But leaks hit papers. Daughter's lies unravel Hawthorne saga. Dad. From jail. Granted interview. Iris is troubled. Resentment from her time inside. Evelyn preyed on it.
Prayed.
The word ignited. I hired my own PI. Ex-cop named Marty. Grizzled and game. Dig on Tanya, I said. Everything. Results dropped like bombs. Tanya wasn't just mistress. She'd been the accountant's niece. Planted to audit fudge from jump. And the boy. Paternity confirmed, but deeper. DNA matched too. Uncle Ray?
No. Ray?
The flask. The shrugs, cover? Or coincidence? Marty's report. Tanya's real name. Tamara Vasquez. Elena's sister? World imploded. Vasquez. My ally. Family to the Viper? Had she played me? Leaks to Hargrove. Softening charges for blood? Confrontation. Vasquez's office. Door slammed. Tamara.
Spill.
She paled, then laughed, cold. Clever girl. Elena warned me about you. Warned? You set this up. Survival. She lit a cigarette. Illegal in office. Jack was Mark, easy. Arrogant. But you. You complicated. The boy Ray's? Collateral. Keeps Ray quiet. Wick of scheme. Family web. All complicit. Betrayal tripled. Grandma's secret? She'd known. Cut Tanya in originally for cut of fraud. But Dad double-crossed. Affair soured. I fled. Head spinning. Everyone schemed Grandma.
Dad. Tanya. Ray.
Even Vasquez.
Me?
Pawn turned queen. But checkmated? Crisis. Hargrove's deposition loomed. Perjury charge possible if my memo surfaced. Hide, fight, choice, expose all. Press conference. Maple Street steps. Snow melting to mud. Reporters crammed. Mics thrust. My name is Iris Hawthorne, I began. Voice steady. This family's rotten fraud. Fire. Falsified lives. Dad started it. But Grandma fueled. Uncle abetted. His wife orchestrated. Even the law bent.
Gasps.
I dropped files, real ones. Unburned backups from Grandma's safe. Arson docs. DNA. Transfers. No more mercy. Prosecute them all. Chaos. Arrests rolling. Ray for conspiracy. Tanya for identity fraud. Vasquez disbarred.
Dad.
In cell. Screamed betrayal via lawyer. But climax cracked me. Little Jack Jr. Deposited by social services, orphan now. Tanya jailed. He toddled to me, bear clutched. Sissy. I scooped him, tears falling. Hero? Villain? The town split, forums raged. Iris avenger or destroyer? Debate fodder. Was exposing wrought justice? Or vengeance devouring innocence? Boy in arms. I wondered same. Spring thawed Harlan slow, like a grudge nursed too long. The auto lot shuddered. Weeds cracking the pavement where deals once died. Grandma's house, my fortress, echoed empty, save for Jack Jr.'s giggles chasing blocks across the floor. He bonded quick, calling me sissy with that lisp, his tiny hand trusting in mine. Social services hovered, but blood tied us half. Anyway, and I'd lawyered up fierce, fighting for custody. The trials merged into a media frenzy. Hawthorne web untangled. Dad's face.
Gaunt on CNN.
Decried family implosion. Ray folded first. Ratting for reduced sentence. Conspiracy. 5 years. Tanya, Tamara, sang sweeter. Pinning the fire on Dad. Netting 3. Vasquez.
Disbarred.
Fled to Florida. But Elena held. Claiming ignorance, jury bought it. Probation.
Me?
No charges. My memo deemed duress-induced. Case dismissed. But scars? Etched deep. Nights. I'd rock the boy. Humming Mom's lullaby. Wondering if I'd cursed him with Hawthorne luck. Dad's appeal hearing hit April Fools. Fitting. Courthouse, steps mobbed. Supporters, ex-employees he'd saved, chanting his name. Inside. Hargrove spun gold. Jack Hawthorne, flawed father. Framed by avarice. I testified last. Jack Jr. With a sitter. Flawed? He burned lives for profit. Let me burn too.
Cross. And you?
Fabricated evidence. Vengeful. Protective, I countered. For the boy. For truth. Jury deliberated 2 days, split. Rumors flew. Verdict. Guilty. 8 years. No parole. Dad's glare as they let him. Pure venom. You'll regret. Iris. Blood betrays.
Regret? Loads.
But as he vanished, a weight lifted, cancerous, long-lodged. Summer brought green shoots. Literal garden at Maple. Tomatoes ripening defiant. Uncle Ray wrote from lockup, apology scrawled. Proud.
Kid.
Sorry for the mess. Lila visited once.
Tentative.
Bearing pie.
He's yours now, the boy.
Do better. I nodded. No forgiveness voiced. Better was action. Enrolling in night law at Cleveland State. Funded by estate sale, lot raised for condos. Jack Jr. Started preschool. Bat in hand. Swinging at wiffle balls in the yard. Twist dropped Labor Day. Package arrived. No return. Dad's ring. The one from Fire Picks. And a letter. Iris Bug. You won. But know this. The biggest scam? Evelyn's. She faked the Will video, deepfake tech. Hired hacker. Real terms? Everything to me. She hated you too, jealous of your spine. Check the safe. Behind the beam. Heart stopped. Deepfake? Grandma's face. Voice, AI forgery? I pried the attic safe. Beam splintering. Inside, original will. Holographic. Dated weeks earlier.
To Jack.
My son. For his burdens borne. Iris gets trinkets, lesson in humility.
No.
Forgery? Or Dad's lie? I hired Marty again, digital forensics. Results. Video authentic. No tampering. But the letters ink? Fresh. Post-arrest. Dad's ploy, final flip. Sowing doubt.
From Supermax.
He called. Collect. Voice oily. Believe me now. You're done, I said, hanging up. But seed planted. Was Grandma pure? Her letters hinted grudges. Against Mom for stealing Dad. Against me for softness. Debate raged internal. Avenger or architect. I'd expose truths. But at what cost, orphan boy? Shattered kin? Readers now. In true crime pods buzzing Hawthorne betrayal, split. Iris hero. Cleansing rod. Versus vigilante. No mercy for blood. Ending? No tidy bow. Fall faded to winter. Jack Jr.'s first snowman lopsided but joyful. We baked cookies, burn edges. Laughter sweet. Dad's appeals dried. Ray paroled early.
Distant uncle now. Tanya?
Vanished. New name. New sins. One night. Boy asleep. I watched Erie's waves from porch. Merlot warming palms. Grandma's portrait inside. Did it smirk? I'd chosen truth over blood. Mercy over silence. Costly. Controversial. Town still whispered. That Hawthorne girl. Ruin 'em all. But as stars pricked black. Boy stirred. Murmuring sissy. I held him close. Right or wrong?
Both.
Tragic triumph. Family forged anew. From ashes I hadn't lit. Yet doubt lingered. Whiskey sharp. If Dad's next lie stuck, would I burn again? Or rise? Unscarred? Harlan slept. Secrets buried shallow. Mine? Deep. But cracking. The end? Open. Debatable, like life in the Rust Belt. Resilient and raw.